So I've spent this last week sick in bed with tonsillitis, and in my fever dreams fueled by antibiotics and self-loathing, I remembered the best worst TV show I've ever seen. I present to you Extreme Dinosaurs, the 1997 cult classic you've probably never heard of. Based off of a series of toys from 1996, it took them only a year to create the most confusing cartoon I've watched since Sonic Underground. The toy series had a completely different yet somehow more believable plot compared to the show. The plot of the toy series is that a group of American college students turned into dinosaurs, and it featured the same character designs and names as the TV show. Although it was originally called the Dino Vengers, which is honestly the dumbest name I've ever heard. If they look kind of familiar, it's probably because they're a spin-off of the more popular Street Sharks toy series, and also appeared in a episode of Street Sharks where they were called the Dino Vengers, but we're going to pretend that didn't happen because it's a stupid name and I hate it. The cartoon, however, is what we're focusing on here. It has everything you could possibly want from a cartoon. Dinosaurs, check. Aliens, check. Borderline no plot, check. The first episode is all you need to get just how utterly bizarre this program is. We open with an intro that goes as hard as the Tarzan soundtrack. The intro, like most cartoons from the era, kind of just spoils any possible reveal for the first episode, but if it doesn't get you intrigued enough to at least watch through the first couple of episodes, I don't know what will. Once the absolute bop of an intro finishes, we're taken to the jungle 65 million years ago, filled with dinosaurs that look a little... they just look so weird. I don't know if they're what they're based on, but I pray real dinosaurs didn't look like that.
This is not okay. This needs to stop.
And then, naturally, after a few establishing shots, a spaceship just, appears out of nowhere. We aren't even 30 seconds into the episode and we've got a spaceship in the Jurassic periods. Then this guy that looks like a 70s He-Man adaptation of Thrawn from Star Wars, Argor Zardock, just biffs it into the side of a mountain and says,
Boss, everything's solid here. What a strange dimension.
There's so much to unpack here just from that sentence alone. How does he not fall through the spaceship in his own dimension? Does this mean he can just float in his dimension? If so, then why does he need a spaceship? Don't worry, they will basically never answer any of these questions about their dimension. Then Argor gets all excited because he sees dinosaurs, which he recognises despite being from some weird non-solid dimension, so naturally he uses some tractor beam he has on his ship and picks up 4 scaly friends to use as super soldiers. He then talks about some high council that he plans to use the dinosaurs to threaten. Again, don't worry about it, it's basically never mentioned again. So the dinosaurs get put in giant test tubes and covered in purple smoke and rainbow lightning, and it gives them intelligence, which obviously turns all of them into bipedal humanoid roided up dino men. Before we get on to the dinosaur men part, why are all the dinosaurs in the tubes the exact same size? I'm sure dinosaurs are bigger than that, and I'm pretty sure the T-Rex should be bigger than the others, but let's not get too bogged down in logic here because it's just going to get more confusing. We get this scene where we see the dinosaurs being given
Eons of knowledge in a microsecond.
which for whatever reason makes them jacked and gives them weaponry and clothes. All the dinosaurs have questions and already fully formed personalities.
How'd you do that?
Check it out! A talking dinosaur! Hey, I'm talking too!
The show kind of leans into the absurdity a little bit at this point for the sake of funny joke, haha. Dinosaurs don't really want to help Argor because they already have developed some deep moral system and refuse to help him take over his homeworld. Luckily for Argor, while they threaten him, they happen to be standing over the trapdoor on his ship, which again is a weird design choice if things aren't solid in your dimension, but whatever. It's at this point he notices some raptors that are attacking his spaceship and is like, wow, an immediate solution to my problem only 2 minutes into the Origin episode, how convenient. I'm just going to stroll past the fact that they're 50 feet in the air and just somehow jumped up to that height from standing. Then we get 2 more Smurfs with excellent bone structure that turn up. They're like the space police or something from their dimension, and despite no one ever having done transdimensional travel, they just happen to nail it first try. Also, apparently that's outlawed, but if it wasn't possible, how could it be illegal? That would be like outlawing time travel with no way of actually doing it, so I don't get why it's outlawed. Anyway, cut back to Argor doing the brain zap thing to some raptors who also come ready-made with various technical adaptations, clothes, personalities, and varying intelligence. And the raptors are way happier to play along with Argor's schemes. So Argor just casually refers to the leader of the raptors as Bad Rap. Bad Rap doesn't introduce himself. Argor doesn't officially name him or anything. Everyone just seems to have this innate knowledge that the guy with the metal jaw is in charge and is called Bad Rap, because why not? So Bad Rap is given like an ungodly powerful weapon that is supposed to be the most powerful weapon ever created in Quadrania, which is where the blue Smurf people are from, about a minute into becoming an intelligent humanoid. He goes on to just casually refer to all the raptors by name, and the raptors are totally unfazed. There's Hax, the raptor with a metal tail, who gets Wolverine claws, and surprisingly, the raptor called Spitter gets an acid canister that allows him to spit acid, because sure, why not? Bad Rap then shoots another Quadranian ship, the one with the space police in, with some fancy rocket launcher, and then that causes the ship to crash, and now the blue lady decides to casually mention again,
This is precisely why it's against the law to leave our dimension. It's so solid here.
the extreme dinosaurs then come across the crashed ship and immediately decide to trust the two space detectives that come out. Lady Space Cop decides the best course of action is to cite the law at this creature from another dimension where she has no jurisdiction. Luckily, everyone speaks English for whatever reason, so there's no language barrier. This takes the Quadranian woman a good few lines of dialogue in to realise that these dinosaurs are talking, and that's the main thing she notices. Not the fact that they're wearing clothes, not the fact that they look like men, or that the T-Rex doesn't have a neck. Also, I don't know what the green one in this shot is doing. He just looks really happy to be there and completely out of place. T-Bone, the T-Rex, then introduces everyone because apparently they all came with names and inherently know each other's, just like the raptors. So at least that's consistent. The naming conventions are very hit and miss. So we have T-Bone, Stegs, Spike and Bullseye. So a load more of the Smurf people run out of the spaceship and they explain that they're hunting down Argor. The dinosaurs offer to help. Lady says no. They insist. She quotes more laws that have no relevance here, blah, blah, blah. T-Bone takes matters into his own hands and naturally stamps on the ground so hard all the Quadranians fall over and then just threatens her. Smurfette refuses and they just get back into their broken ship. Meanwhile, Argor is collecting his raptor army, but because there weren't enough toys in the line, we never see the other raptors get roided up, even though they're in the lightning zappy tubes just as long as everyone else was. Argor then sends the three main raptors to go and attack the Quadranian ship so that it can't take off, which includes Bad Rap, just taking a massive bite out of the side of the ship. If only things weren't so solid here. The extreme dinosaurs step in and collectively say,
Let's carnivate 'em!
so it's good to know that they were all given some innate catchphrases, otherwise this would have been super awkward if they'd all just said different things. So then one of the briefest fight scenes in history takes place. Throw rock, punch rock, spit acid, acid meteor, oh no, fly, pick up, throw in air, tail smack, fall in mud. That's pretty much it. In total, the fight lasts 20 seconds. Then Bad Rat remembers that he has a literal disintegration ray attached to his arm and starts shooting it at T-Bone. So some of the dinos dogpile Bad Rat, but before he shoots off one last blast, which somehow destroys 3 separate trees that weren't attached together, and then apparently dissolve through the ground, which then destroys the Earth's outer crust, leading to explosions and earthquakes. So then Argor realizes, oh, maybe I shouldn't have let this completely untested world-ending level weapon to be fired randomly in a dimension I know nothing about. So then Argor just pieces out with his other raptors. The Quadranians also begin to evacuate, but the captain rulebook says that they have to stay behind and protect the dinosaurs. So Blue Elf Lady and the dinosaurs climb into some huge oversized stasis pods that are the perfect size for the dinosaurs, conveniently, and plan to wait for a rescue party to come wake them up. And then the raptors manage to escape the world-ending event they caused and also manage to get into the stasis pods next to the others. And then we cut to present day, 65 million years later, where the Quadranian ship is discovered by an archaeology dig, which is run by a guy who thinks the whole thing is a prank. He starts randomly pressing buttons, still thinking it's a prank, which wakes everybody up, and then T-Bone just appears beside him and says, like, how amazing it is to see a hairless mammal. I mean, he was completely unshocked by the Quadranians, and since mammals didn't evolve until the late Cretaceous period, T-Bone should not have even known that he's a mammal, but, like, I don't care what info Argor gave them, and that this stuff is based on the history of his dimension, and I refuse to acknowledge all the random stuff these dinosaurs just casually say as throwaway lines. Archaeologist man freaks out and books it out of there, which is the most realistic reaction of anything that has happened in this show so far, and then the raptors wake up too, and so all of them just start fighting. Bad Rap and the other raptors run away after seeing a helicopter, and they just assume it's bad news and decide to retreat. This all happens literally seconds after the archaeologist runs out of the ship, so I have no idea how these people in hazmat suits got here so fast. The hazmat suit people drug the extreme dinosaurs and they wake up in a high-tech facility being experimented on. T-Bone literally just bites through a robot arm and then just pulls himself free, and the rest of the dinosaurs just follow suit. But they only have to break through a few leather straps, which don't really look strong enough to hold, I don't know, a dinosaur. So now some mechs just turn up that shoot sedative bandages and that they used before to knock the dinosaurs out. So they fight the dinosaurs because sure, why not? I'm far too sober for this at this point. They just begin destroying all the robots, and then Steggs turns into Sonic and makes a saw blade noise as he plows through them. Lady Smurfington continues to remain captured because she is a weak little humanoid and tries to quote more irrelevant laws at the robots, because who doesn't love a one-dimensional character? T-Bone just stomps one and just kind of flops his tail on it, and that's the end of another fight scene. We've had 3 so far, and I think combined they don't even add up to a minute. The dinosaurs then debate about whether they should save Blue Lady Spock. Spike takes matters into his own hands and just releases her because she quoted a law.
I salute your respect for Quadranian law.
The facility tries to put them to sleep again, and then we get the second catchphrase of the episodes.
Let's Jurassicate this place!
I'd also like to take this opportunity to point out that I'm pretty sure they're using lion roars for their dinosaur noises, because of course they are. T-Bone then tells Bullseye to get the window so that they can leave. I have no idea how they know what a window is, or how Bullseye knows that he has the ability to create sonic screeching noises that can break glass, especially since they shouldn't really know the properties of glass or that it's a reaction to sound, but who cares, right? At least it's solid here! The scientists close a large metal door and Steggs just bursts through it doing his saw blade sonic dash attack. They escape back to the ship, but Bullseye makes sure to just take a moment to traumatize a research scientist first. ELO's most famous song turns back up from out of nowhere, and she says she's neutralized their security system while Steggs pushes buttons. They escape into the sky in the spaceship, and now this would make a great jumping off point, right? But no, we're only 13 minutes into the episode. We still have plot left. So who are the main antagonists? The government? Yeah, sure. The Raptors? Also yes. The Quadranian man who made them? Surprisingly, no. He just doesn't come back. We don't see any more of him. The dinosaurs then have to grapple with finding out that it's been 65 million years and dinosaurs are now extinct, which they get over really quickly with a very quick comment on,
"We don't belong."
Then some alarms go off and they just snap out of it. For some reason, the spaceship, capable of interdimensional travel, isn't able to outrun 4 helicopters who are chasing them, so they decide to hide at a dinosaur museum they spot from the sky because they think the statues are real dinosaurs, and then that leads to this clip.
Bud! How you spiking?
And considering they never had interactions with dinosaurs since becoming extreme dinosaurs, and they know that other dinosaurs can't talk, why this was Spike's immediate reaction is beyond me, but it does fully cement him as the lovable idiot of the group. Then this crazy yokel, whose name is legitimately Porcupine Duval, who is also the owner of the museum, just kind of shows up and invites them in, and he's completely fine with seeing humanoid dinosaurs and an alien. He's absolutely unfazed by it, saying that he's seen loads of weird stuff while living near Roswell, which tells us that the dinosaurs were actually taken to Area 51. And also, Porcupine uses a dinosaur bone as a cane, because why wouldn't he? Crazy Pants McRoadkill then shows them that the Raptors are on the television. Somehow Bad Rap acquired TV broadcasting equipment and is putting out a call to arms to take back the Earth from the hairless mammals, because no one told him dinosaurs were extinct and he hasn't figured it out yet. So anyway, T-Bone's moral high ground kicks in and he decides that they have to stop the Raptors in case they use the world-ending plasma ray, and then Night, the museum manager, decides to help the extreme dinosaurs because he's annoyed that the Raptors have ruined cable television. His motivation makes as much sense as anyone else's, but his motivation is literally, I'll help you as long as you guys get these Raptors off the television. Luckily, the dinosaur museum also happens to be in a scrapyard, which is full of old cars, which apparently Porcupine combines with parts of the spaceship to make hover cars. I'm not kidding. They just all get a hover car built in less than a day, made by a crazy man in his own personal scrapyard. But Bullseye doesn't get one because for some reason he can keep up with the hover cars by just flying normally. Oh, and Mrs. Blue Sky turns back up, and we finally find out that her name is Chedra during a conversation with T-Bone, and she starts quoting some laws, and T-Bone just reminds her that it's been 65 million years, so it's definitely out of date now. Oh, so now we're applying logic in this show, are we, T-Bone? Because wait until you hear about how things aren't solid where Chedra cheese is from. So anyway, Chedra gets left behind with Swamp Ass, and we just cut over to the raptors having trouble finding anyone to take them seriously. And then there's also a joke about them saying that they'll prove they're real for money, which means they've apparently grasped currency, how to operate camera equipment, decimals to work out how much cents there is in the dollar, but also not that dinosaurs are extinct. But oh no, there's a closed metal door. What will we eat? Oh yeah, never mind, they have Sonic the Steghog. T-Bone then decides to tell Bad Rap the dinosaurs are extinct with a one-liner, and then they all fight again. And the fight is just as quick and generic as before, except this time they just forgot about Hax, and he isn't in the fight at all. And since they're already outnumbered 4-3, they could have really used him. Bad Rap then points his world-ending gun at T-Bone, who threatens to use it, and then T-Bone is less than stoked about that, so T-Bone then insults Bad Rap's intelligence, saying that if he blows the building up, he'd blow himself up, which then Hax appears from wherever he's been and just takes the gun, and apparently is very offended by being called a walnut brain. So then we get the extreme dinosaur signature move.
Sorry and stop. No!
Which knocks Hax over, dropping the super mega death ray, which is then shredded by Stegs, whose power seems to just get used way more than everyone else's. Unfortunately, Bad Rat manages to escape because he flicks his tail, and T-Bone is incompetent. Spitter and Hax are then dropped off on a cold, snow-covered mountain somewhere, and Bullseye causes an avalanche on top of them, because I'm sure that was a safe and responsible action to take. Spike then celebrates their victory, and then T-Bone gets all sad because the dinosaurs are all dead, and he doesn't think that they belong here in the present, but since the raptors are here too, they decide they need to stick around to help keep the raptors in line. T-Bone then just disrespects Chedra one last time by completely ignoring her, and they fly off into the sunset. So that's the first episode of Extreme Dinosaurs, and all of that happens in 20 minutes. There is so many lines of dialogue that are just thrown out there that have serious implications. Why do they keep bringing up things being solid and never explain it any further? I don't get it. It upsets me greatly. There's no consistency. There's an insane amount of power creep. Stegs can literally destroy anything. They fall 50 feet. Dinosaurs jump 50 feet and attach themselves to a spaceship. The Quadranian Council have now being threatened by raptors because Argor Zardock escaped 65 million years ago. I am so confused. But you know, regardless, it's a really fun show to watch and just try and see how many things they skip over and don't make sense. Thank you for coming along to this, what is now a 7-page long scripted video of one of the weirdest shows from my childhood. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time if I make another one of these. I don't know if I ever will. This was a lot of work. Okay, cool, bye.